Osman Spare. He was an artist and a magician. Born on the 30th of December 1886, he died on the 15th of May 1956. He grew up in the Smithfield area of London. His dad was a policeman. He got into art from quite an early age and realised he was quite good at it. And so also his dad saw that he was quite good at it and showed it off to some people. And by the time of 1904, when Spare was 17 years old, he was being exhibited at the Royal Academy. He was the youngest artist to have done that year. But not only was he painting, he was also developing his own magic and occult philosophy. There is some debate as to whether his art career faltered due to this dabbling in magic. Word had got around that he was a bit of a magician. The Royal College of Arts, well, he attended the Royal College of Arts, and he became a student, and it was whilst he was there that he became friends with Sylvia Pankhurst, and good friends. They were friends for a very long time, and Sylvia Pankhurst was one of the suffragettes. She was one of those women, and he supported her, that wanted to get freedom for women, votes for women, which is all very good. God bless Sylvia Pankhurst. Now, Osman Spare was very well read. He liked books such as Dante's Infernos, he read them, and he also had Madame Blavatsky's books, so I've never been able to find out if he actually became a theosophist. But he did read The Secret Doctrine, and he also read Isis Unveiled. Well, World War One came along, and though Spare wasn't a fighter or a soldier, he did join the army and became a war artist. He'd already been an illustrator for various other companies and a bookplate designer, and he was known for doing a lot of self-portraits. When the war ended, he came back to London and continued doing, well, what he does best, making art and creating magic. And soon he was noticed by the magical crowd, I should say. In fact, Aleister Crowley found out about him and took a big interest in him. Crowley came looking for him because he liked Spare's occult artwork, and he employed Spare to help illustrate the Phelimite journal, The Equinox, though rumour has it that Spare never actually got paid for doing this, but was given a robe for rituals and invited to join the AA, the Argenteum Astrum, Crowley's secret magical order that he'd started up. Apparently Spare was the 7th member to join and had the magical name, and I hope I'm saying this right, Jehovium. And I do wonder if it was taking part in this AA Argenteum Astrum. It was probably this that put him off ceremonial magic or ceremony magic. He never did become a full member, but there is debate to whether Crowley asked Spare to leave or Spare chose to leave, though I think it was probably Spare chose to leave. It was not long after this that Spare started doing some rather sexually explicit and rather erotic art. He had by this time married to the lovely Ellie, though I've heard that a new book is being brought out about her, but I've not read that yet. Spare also created his own magazine called Form, which I think was probably using a lot of his writings and artwork. And it didn't last for long. He disbanded that and started a new one called The Golden Hind. Now, Spare was getting into automatic drawings and automatic writings by this time, and he was saying this is what was helping him to develop his Anathema of Zeus, Z-O-S, Anathema of Zeus, the Sermon to the Hypocrites, a book which he says was kind of written by his subconscious. He says it was a source of inspiration, and that our conscious mind gets in the way of our subconscious, and so he was trying to stop his conscious mind coming up and letting his subconscious reveal itself, and thus this book, the Anathema of Zeus, was written. So by this time Spare was devising his own religion, Zos Kia Cultus, Zoskia Cultus, Cultus. And I have a little quote here about this, about Zos Kia Cultus, which embodies my conception of what we are, we were, and shall be in the future. So he was talking about a dual concept of Zos and Kia. Zos was the human body and mind. Kia was the universal mind, the ultimate power. And I think some of this is discussed in The Secret Doctrine by Blavatsky, so he's getting these ideas from her and then working on them. And he talks about how our subconscious minds hold the secrets to the universe, and this is why he was trying to not turn off his conscious mind, but let it, take a background part so that his subconscious mind could come through. And to help him do this, he was creating his own sigils, his own magical talismans, words and letters combined into shapes, symbols to reflect the intended meaning, and then he would meditate upon them. And he made some forecasting cards, and I don't know if any of you know that there has been a tarot deck discovered by him recently. It was in the Magic Circle headquarters, and there's a book out on that now. He was also calling other cards Obeah cards, which is a word for supernatural, and I think that's from the New Orleans kind of voodoo magic. So this is Spare's response to Hitler's request. Only from negations can I wholesomely conceive you, for I know of no courage sufficient to stomach your aspirations and ultimates. If you are Superman, let me be forever animal. And you've got to remember, these are the times when, Nietzsche had already written his Superman book, or I think that was in Thus Spake Zarathustra, and the Nazis were trying to make the Übermensch, the Superman, or create a Superman race, which Spare was quite against. And of course Spare himself, he was no Superman, though he was a Superman in magic and art, but he struggled throughout his life. Money did not come to him easily. He did live in squalor quite a lot due to having no money. And as I was saying before about the Obeah cards, and the surrealist cards, the surrealist racing forecast cards, he put out an advert for people, and it read, "Unlucky at gambling? If so, why not experiment by buying a pack of surrealist forecast cards designed by a famous mystic artist and author? They were originally intended as a joke, but he found that they picked the winners in his case and in many others. Can be used for any race, anywhere, any year, and the same pack will last for years. These cards are not guaranteed, as they react differently in the case of each individual, but they do enable you to conduct an interesting and perhaps profitable experiment with luck. Obviously, if they were infallible, we should be so rich that we wouldn't need to advertise them. So we make this very fair offer. Buy a pack with full instructions for 5 shillings. If you find them to be of no use to you, your money will be refunded without question or argument. Surrealist Forecast Cards, 261 Lauderdale Mansions, London, W9. And one thing that I do find interesting is that Adolf Hitler loved his dogs. He had, I think they were German Shepherds, but he was definitely a dog man. Whereas Osman Spare was a cat man. He used to take in all the cats that were being abandoned around the area and he was known in later life of just having him in his little flat and lots of cats everywhere. But going back to the story of Adolf Hitler, apparently when the raid from the Germans, when the Luftwaffe flew over and dropped their bombs, one of the bombs hit Speer's residence and destroyed his upper floor and took out, I believe, his studio and destroyed much of his artwork, but thankfully Speer survived. Now I think Speer was the greatest magician Britain has ever had. His artwork, especially his magical artwork, is full of representatives of ancient religious magical ways. It's a mixture of Babylonian, Egyptian, pagan type characters in there, and I think he knew how to work with them. And he wasn't working with them to, gain material things. He was working with them to further his own knowledge and wisdom and magical ways. Osman Speer, artist, magician. Sadly, he died on the 15th of May 1956 from it's peritonitis in the end. His appendix had burst, but, he never got to a doctor in time, and it turned into peritonitis, which nearly took me out myself in 2016, in the year that David Bowie made Death Cool. I made this little film just to celebrate Osman Speer, who was born on the 31st of December. So today that this film goes out is the celebration of a life, a legend of what I think is one of the greatest magicians, one of the greatest artists. May his magic and his art live on forever.